popular social media superstar, the renowned content creator, the serial risk taker, and undefeated fighter, introducing the problem child, Jake
Julio Cesar Chavez
Before the fight was the early rounds could be decisive, and it is quite clear.
Leyenda continúa. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Nothing was left in the corner, nothing was left in the gym.
I just felt flat, man. Not my best performance. I guess that happens in the sport. You know, you gotta peak right at the right moment. You only get one night, one chance, and I messed that up, I guess. But didn't think I'd ever have to make one of these videos, but it happens, I guess. This is still the best job in the world. Thank you all for the support. This was an amazing event, and I'll be back. No worries, cuz.
Jake, I know there was a lot of talk about him and his power. You took his shots pretty well and you knocked him
No,
down.
his power wasn't that crazy. He just had good speed, good combinations, but Anderson and Tyron hit really hard, so I was used to that.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Boxing, man, you gotta take it on the chin, but it was good. Some good moments in there. I just really couldn't get my game plan working. But hey, man, this is what the sport's all about. You win some in glorious fashion, and you lose some. And like I said out there, judging about my losses, because I'll be back. You know, I think he was just really well prepared, and I think it was...
With the showdown between Jake Paul and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. just days away, DAZ Unboxing has released an exclusive preview featuring the two fighters, along with interviews from special guests that have elevated expectations. One such supporter is UFC fighter Arman Tsarukyan, who expressed fascination with the 28-year-old Jake Paul, calling him a legend for taking up boxing so late and still performing impressively. Tsarukyan admired Paul's commitment to proving critics wrong and was especially surprised by his size, strength, and mobility, stating, "He's so big and hits so hard," while also emphasizing how Paul moves like a real boxer. He believes Jake is fully prepared and will emerge victorious. Statistically, it might seem unlikely for Jake Paul to beat Chavez, but given Chavez's recent performances and his career trajectory, it's not far-fetched to argue in favor of the YouTuber-turned-boxer. Tsarukyan isn't alone 6th Division. World champion and Golden Boy Promotions director Oscar de la Hoya also weighed in with a bold prediction that stunned many. As two of his fighters, Gilberto Ramirez and Floyd Schofield, are featured on the undercard and the event is co-promoted by Golden Boy Promotions, De La Hoya has a vested interest. In signature Golden Boy fashion, he energized Fight Week by delivering. his predictions while wearing only his underwear. He backed Raul Curiel, Schofield, and Ramirez for the undercard, but when it came to the main event, he predicted a split decision victory for Jake Paul after a grueling 12-round battle, declaring, "Paul the favorite." The Jake Paul boxing experiment continues this Saturday as the influencer-turned-fighter faces former middleweight champion Chavez Jr. following his November win over 58-year-old Mike Tyson. This marks Paul's second straight fight against a former world champion. Chavez Jr., now 39, is long removed from his prime and never quite reached the level of his legendary father, often struggling with controversy and self-inflicted issues. At the final press conference, Chavez Jr. bluntly criticized Paul, saying, "He tries, he trains hard, but he's not a good fighter. If he were, everyone else here would be a legend. Chavez may actually be the perfect opponent for Paul, who has built a resume by defeating older, faded names such as Anna Songjid, Nate Robinson, Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley twice, Anderson Silva, and Nate Diaz." After a split decision loss to Tommy Fury, Paul rebounded by defeating lesser-known boxers like Andre August and Ryan Berland, but the lack of star power in those fights pushed him back toward former MMA fighters, including a dominant win over Mike Perry and a dull, safe win over Tyson. Now facing Chavez Jr., Paul finds himself in a slightly riskier matchup. Chavez may be past his prime, but he still has real boxing credentials and has spent his life in the ring. At the final press conference, Paul said Chavez is a great fighter with a legendary name and represents a real step on his path toward a world title. Paul called the bout a tough challenge, but one he's ready for, aiming to launch a title run after this win. Notably, Paul was close to landing a blockbuster fight with Canelo Alvarez until Alvarez signed a 3-fight deal with Riyadh Season, reportedly using Paul as leverage. And so, Paul returns to familiar territory, fighting a once-respected but aging opponent, yet this time, the threat feels a little more real. Chavez brings a name, experience, and danger Jake hasn't often faced. Whether it's a calculated move or a true test, this fight could reshape how both men are viewed in boxing. For more updates, exclusive interviews, and Fight Week coverage, subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss high-quality content like this. Until next time, peace.